big tendering process that is basically underway. We are given to understand that the Indian Army has issued tenders to procure shoulder-fired short-range air defense systems, next generation to take out enemy aircraft, choppers and drones. The Army has essentially placed requirements for 448 launchers, 85 missiles along with other required equipment under the Make in India. Let me also go across to my colleague and our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor getting us the latest details. Abhishek, a significant tender procurement essentially taking place, while the Defence Ministry would largely make it look like this is a routine order that is being made right now by the Indian Army as per the procedure. But is there anything more that can be assumed at this point in time with the kind of procurement that is being done at this stage?
This is anything but routine. Routine procurements happen in a certain way, which we of course know how they happen. But this information is coming in, which is that these are essentially beefing up measures being taken aimed at operational requirements. I have spoken to sources and they say these are operational requirements, and that's the differentiator from earlier tenders that would come in, the RFPs that would come in, requests for proposal that would come in. Essentially, what we are seeing is all arms of the forces really beefing up. So be it the Rafales earlier, or in this case, we are seeing missiles and rocket launchers and shoulder-fired missiles aimed at tanks, etc. I think this is proper war machine getting beefed up. We earlier had reported about how Indian Army had ordered 50,000, imagine 50,000 kamikaze drones, and that's a huge number. I mean, that really gives you an idea of the kind of swarming of enemy territory that can happen, quadcopter drones, etc., among others. So I think what we are seeing is, Shawan, this is clear indication that this is the defense forces really preparing up for the long haul in case, a conflict breaks out. Obviously, if it happens, essentially as we build up to India's kinetic military response to avenge the Pahalgam terror attack.
Well, Abhishek, just a quick check with you with regards to the details of the procurement that has been made. We are largely looking at small arms and also the fact that these are shoulder arm ammunition that is being procured by the Indian Army. Give us a sense of where does the Indian Army really stand with this kind of ammunition and the need for it right now?
Well, we have spoken to our sources and they say that for at least a month-long operation, there is no problem. But still, given a nod that has come from the Ministry of Defence after that Cabinet Committee on Security, Shawan, in which Prime Minister gave a clear free hand to the forces to prepare for whatever response they want to give to the Pahalgam terror attack, more beefing up is happening. So essentially what we are seeing is top-up happening of whatever Indian Army war machine has already, which, as I mentioned, is good enough to go for at least 30 days of full intensity war.
Well, thank you very much, Abhishek, for getting us the latest details. There's also another big breaking news now coming in. We'll quickly take our viewers through the latest details coming in. This is a big development taking place at the Chennai airport. This is once again linked to the Pahalgam attack. In fact, in a short while from now, we're going to put out the details that the Sri Lankan Airways has just put out, indicating the fact that there is a search operation that was basically carried out, and the search operation was carried out to look into few suspects. In fact, this is what the Sri Lankan Airlines has put out, saying that the Chennai air traffic control had stopped the airline from taking off. This is after they basically received information that at least 6 suspected terrorists perhaps were also there. In fact, we are given to understand that 6 of these suspects who were inside the aircraft and they were being searched. We're going to take you through some of the details that is now coming in from the airline with regards to the search operation that has been carried out. And this is what the airline says. I'm quoting from the statement that has been put out, saying that the aircraft has been thoroughly inspected, subsequently cleared for further operations. But with regards to the searches that were carried out, this was carried out in coordination with local authorities following an alert from the Chennai Air Control Center regarding a suspect wanted in India who was believed to be on board. Now, this is the airline that was on flights UL 122 and UL 308. These are the two airlines. Just a bit of a correction. These are 6 suspects linked to the Pahalgam attack. We do not know that these are 6 terrorists, as some reports have suggested, but these are just suspects at this point in time who were basically searched by the authorities. We are trying to get in more details, but going by the statement that has been put out by the Sri Lankan Airlines right now, our Chennai reporter Sharda is joining us on this broadcast, getting us more details. Sharda, what more details are you picking up? Where was this searches carried out in Colombo, and what more details are you picking up? Because the initial reports coming in from Sri Lanka indicate that this has been directly linked to Pahalgam terror attack, and there are 6 suspects who were basically searched.
Well, the 6 terrorists who have been suspected is for, again, the Pahalgam attack, and it stated that following the information that the air controller office received, it said that these 6 suspects would have been traveling to the Colombo, and that they have now been following checkups done. However, they did not find anything, and following the airline statement, further checkups are being taken in Chennai. Hopefully, the airport authorities have also noted the other flights that would be passing to Colombo, and that these checks would be going on and all that. So we have to wait and see if as per the information given by the airport statement, if the 6 terrorists who have been suspected are in place, if they are traveling from Chennai to there, we have to get more information on that. However, the police in the state have not yet informed about this. So I think the more checkups will be done across the city. More security would be placed in the airport, as per our sources say, to make sure that these 6 suspects who are said to be here in Chennai would not escape through the flight.
Well, Sharda, just a little more details now coming in. This is what the police spokesperson in Colombo has to say. In fact, this is a report coming in from Colombo where the police spokesperson has said that the information received indicated that 6 individuals suspected to be involved in the recent Pahalgam terror attack were on board a flight that was arriving from Chennai. They've also added that the suspects are believed to have already arrived at the Sri Lankan Airlines flight. The search operation is being carried out jointly by the Sri Lankan Police, the Sri Lankan Air Force and the airport security units. So that's a huge development taking place. Simply going by the report that has been published and also the statement that has been put out by the Sri Lankan Airlines, we'll try and see if we can go across to Ashwin also, who's getting us the latest details. And it's important to point out that this is a huge development taking place. If at all there is a transnational connection that is basically emerging right now, because some of the reports coming in from Colombo basically indicate that the search was linked to the Pahalgam attack, and certain inputs were basically provided by the Indian intelligence agencies to Sri Lanka, and based upon the intelligence inputs that have come in, they basically acted upon it, and the searches were basically carried out. Now, that's a significant development. Sharda, any more details you are picking up? Because this is a huge development in terms of perhaps a transnational link emerging at this point in time. Anything that you're picking up from Chennai as to who these people were, or perhaps any details that you're picking up from Colombo?
No information from the Chennai has been passed. However, the police here are still unaware of this particular information that's passing on here. We also have to wait and see if the police here are given enough information or not as per. However, the airport authorities are still making sure that these checks are in place in the Chennai International Airport. However, following the statement with the airplane given to us, it's make sure that these 6 terror suspects or relation to the Pahalgam attack, which are still in Chennai, and that they would be checking all the flights that would be passing through from here. Also made sure with the Sri Lankan information that the authorities have given to the Chennai Air Control officers, it said the particular flight has left Chennai. However, they're making sure the other Sri Lankan airlines are also being checked at the moment.
In fact, let's also get a quick check from our guest here in the war room, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is now becoming a larger issue. And the fact that perhaps there is a transnational link that is emerging right now. General Kochur, let me first take this question with you. The fact that search operations are basically underway in Chennai and I beg your pardon, in Colombo, and the police there from Sri Lanka is indicating that intelligence agencies from India informed them that there are suspects linked to Pahalgam attack traveling from Chennai to Colombo. What do you make of it?
You would be aware that NIA has just completed its preliminary investigation from Pahalgam, and there a lot of leads have actually emerged. So I would like to link this information to some kind of a tip which the NIA was able to obtain from the valley, and it somehow has got connected to these 6 people. And Colombo is one route I would like to mention here. There is a Chinese presence in Sri Lanka, especially in the Habantota port. It is under lease to China as of now. Right. So, I don't know if it will be linked up. It's too premature to say that. But certainly the NIA leads would have taken them to these 6 people. I think the most important details should be that who are these people? Right. What is their nationality? And what were they doing in India? So all these questions will actually come after they get interrogated.
Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastav, if I can also bring you in. I know this is at a very preliminary stage, but having said that, looking at the modus operandi of the Lashkar-e-Toiba, as well as the fact that this is, there are reports coming in of the involvement of the Hamas too. Does this look like a bigger, there is something that we do not know right now, there is a larger picture, and perhaps with this development now taking place of the possibility of certain suspects traveling from Chennai to Colombo, what do you really make of it?
See, it appears that whatever conspiracy was there and the preparations were there, they were well done off, number one. And number two, these terrorists would find a southward exit, and that too to Sri Lanka, which I agree with General Kochur, which has great influence of Chinese port over there. It becomes a good thing, but for the terrorists or the overground workers to take that route and exit from there, it appears to be a very well planned escape route, and take a Sri Lankan flight. If you take a Sri Lankan flight and go to Sri Lanka, the kind of checks you'll undergo, right, the kind of security things you'll undergo would be, in a way, moderate. Much less than what will happen in the northern side of the country. So that may be one of the, normally if you're planning, suppose I was there, I was planning escape route, probably I would do that. Right. I would do that. I would go to a country which is neutral, which is not coming in picture at all, and where I have Chinese presence. So my exit becomes.
You're saying that the Chinese link can also be an important aspect that one can look at.
They were using Chinese equipment.
Correct.
So China is in the framework.
Colonel Shukla, if you want to just add on to this entire thing, that you cannot really take away the fact that it is no longer the old tactic that Pakistan is basically employing at this point in time, that it is just one attack directly linked to Pakistan. Pakistan wants that deniability factor to be alive.
Definitely, that's what you can see. See, it is a very unconventional route. In the past, you have seen there has been an exodus routes which we've seen in the eastern side of our country, that is Nepal and Bhutan and those areas. But it is a very unconventional route, and they thought that it is a very best escape route if somebody wants to actually make a way out. Presently, northern states are fully alert, and there is no possibility of any terrorist to escape from the northern belt. So right, definitely they have chosen certain unexpected.
So is there gentlemen, is there a possibility, because I'm getting in some more breaking news, but I just want a quick comment, that do you believe that there, as part of the conspiracy, there could be number of people, there would be more number of people than what we know so far? Initially we were told that this is anything between 4 to 7, but these are terrorists who are on the ground carrying out. But there's a possibility that as far as the conspiracy is concerned, there could be a possibility of more people?
The southern India, I would like to specify Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Andhra Pradesh have a number of sleeper cells of the ISI. Because if you go back in time, a couple of months back, there were certain incidents in these areas which were linked to these sleeper cells in South India, especially, Kerala also. So I see a distinct possibility that their escape route or possibly more people also getting involved, because these sleeper cells are quite effective in South India. As a matter of fact, they almost have gone noticed undetected, and all their activities they have been doing, and especially we must make a note of this, the coastal areas, because in the coastal areas the security is not of that kind what we observe on the border areas. So it's much easier for infiltration as well as exfiltration from the coastal areas. So I think this nexus of especially the southern part of the country will have to be explored in more detail.
Well, in fact, General Kochar, I'll come back to you because we are also getting details of the Pakistani propaganda, gentlemen, because we are prepared with that. We're going to put that on a short while from now. But there's more development taking place, big development at this point in time. Breaking news now coming in of the search operations being carried out in Colombo. In fact, a statement has just a short while back been put out by the Sri Lankan Airlines stating that this search operation was carried out by the Sri Lankan Army as well as Sri Lankan agencies, and they suspect that few of the passengers who were present in the airline are linked to the Pahalgam attack. And this input was basically provided by the Indian intelligence agencies. Our reporters now getting us the latest details. Ashwin is joining us from Trivandrum, and you have Sharda, who's joining us from Chennai, and Rakshita is joining us from Srinagar, getting us the latest details. First to you, Sharda, any further details are you getting in? A confirmation now coming in from the police spokesperson in Colombo that yes, it is linked to the Pahalgam attack?
Well, as of now, we have no information that if the suspects that who were said to be in the Sri Lankan airport have left from Chennai. However, we have to wait and see if the Sri Lankan authorities have figured out if the suspect is found there. Because following the flight which left here, the airline authorities have informed that there is a suspect related to the Pahalgam terror attack left from Chennai today morning at 11:40. However, following the searches that done by the airport authorities, the Sri Lankan police force and the Air Force, it's still not yet confirmed. So we have to wait and see if there are more other informations coming up from Colombo as well as Chennai. However, the Chennai officials still seem to be unknown of this particular information, and that they are still checking the forms the forms and the people who have left today to Sri Lanka through the particular Sri Lankan airline, and still they have not found any misleading information on this. So if in case if the terror suspect who has been said to be left from Chennai today morning is found in Sri Lanka, there'd be more precautions being taken in the Chennai city, because we have to as we already mentioned that the terror suspect would have left from Chennai today. So more safety precautions would be taken around the airports of the entire state of Tamil Nadu.
Well, in fact, Sharda, there is more details now coming in. It's quite clear that this is linked to the Pahalgam attack. In fact, this is a report that has just now been published by news agencies in Colombo, and I'm quoting from one of the news agency in Colombo. They say a flight from Chennai was subjected to a special search operation at the BIA after information was received from India that suspects in India's Pahalgam terror attack were in the flight. This is the police media spokesperson who's just spoken to some of the portals in Colombo, getting us the latest details. Ashwin is also joining us. Ashwin, who's been tracking these developments in Sri Lanka very closely. Ashwin, this is a huge development at this point in time. The police spokesperson now coming on record stating that this search that was carried out in Colombo has been directly linked to the Pahalgam terror attack. Have you spoken to anyone in Colombo? Are you picking up any further details?
Shravan, I've been trying to get contact with the Colombo journalists, a lot of them, a lot of reporters, and we are trying to get this more information. But what we know so far is that certainly there's an alert that has been sounded in Colombo. They are looking for more information, whether there's any possibility of any of these sleeper agents who had got out of the country through Colombo. It is being done as we speak. We also get to understand that Sri Lanka has also been a victim of terror. The Easter Sunday attack, it was part of these ISI sleeping cells also. So certainly the country is also on high alert. What we get to pick up from our journalist friends across in the country of Sri Lanka, they are trying to get more information. But we are sure that as soon as these information we are trying to get in touch with some of these local reporters in Colombo as well.
Ashwin, it's imperative that we immediately connect with the police in Colombo, getting us the latest details, because I've given to understand that they have already put out a statement. Ashwin, I'll request you to quickly get in touch, getting us the latest details. Also, there's a statement that has now been put out by the Sri Lankan Airlines. In fact, they are clearly linking it to the Pahalgam attack. Sri Lankan Airlines has issued the statement. They have basically confirmed the search. This is the biggest news now coming in at 4:25 this evening with regards to the Pahalgam attack investigation that's being carried out. General Kochar, I just want a quick comment from you, because your immediate analysis indicated the presence of sleeper cells and the fact that you cannot really take away that no longer terrorism is no longer limited to one particular geographical area right now, and that's the change in tact. As we stay with the breaking news, I want an immediate quick analysis from you, General Kochar.
You see, the NIA has been able to investigate in the last about 2-3 years a strong presence of sleeper cells in South India, and especially when we have the states like Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Strong presence of these people are there, and in Kerala itself there are a large number of people who have been radicalized. So I see that this terrorism, when we talk about, is not limited to Jammu and Kashmir. My first reaction is when I actually heard this news, I could straight away link to their contacts, the sleeper cell, the other people who have been.
Are you saying there are other jihadi organizations which are extremely active in South India, and that could be a cause of concern? Because terror attacks that have taken place in Sri Lanka has had some links with jihadi organizations out of some of the southern states.
Yeah. PFI, I can actually tell you about PFI. This organization has been banned there, and what I'm given to understand is they are still very, very active in that state, and especially the state police has become rather ineffective to bring them into the limelight or to make some arrest, because there are a lot of political things which actually go into these things. So I think the NIA has to, the sovereignty of the nation is now at stake. Right. So I think the NIA will have to take over all the investigations and not leave it to the state police.
Marshal, I just want a quick comment from you because I'm running short of time. But what do you really make of it in terms of, because I also found this very interesting, the last point that you were making, the China link. Can you elaborate a little bit on the China link?
So all the while we see whenever such things happen, it's going to suit China in a way that when China is pushing us for opening our markets, and on one side you have General Modi giving that kind of statement, and then things happening in Pahalgam. They all are linked, and you find with the terrorists that they.
Are we diverting in any way? Are we diverting the attention from Pakistan?
We are not diverting the attention of the Pakistan. We are just trying to know that there's larger conspiracy, which appears to be one of kind of attack. It's not one of kind of attack. It's a well-nursed, well-practiced, and well-rehearsed kind of attack.
We'll stay with the breaking news. This is a big development taking place. Colonel, I just want a quick comment from you also, then I'll go back to our reporters on the ground till the time we get more breaking news coming in. We'll stay with it, Karthik, right now. More details coming in. This is the big news, Colonel. With regards to the link that is emerging from the fact that as Air Vice Marshal was also pointing out, the China link, the fact that this may be a transnational for purpose, that at the end of the day, Indian investigative agencies would have been able to map through. Do you think this is all part of a larger conspiracy at play?
Sure, you have brought it out yourself that Indian agencies have been able to map. That's the reason that they were the one who actually given the information to the Sri Lankan police. So definitely we are on the right course. That was what the Home Minister has told, that we will be tracking down and bringing the justice to each and every person who was involved in this attack.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us in the war room today, getting us the latest detail. I'll go back to our reporters on the ground, getting us the breaking news of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, a quick check of what we know so far. Sri Lankan Airlines has put out a statement saying the search operations were basically carried out by the Sri Lankan Army. This after inputs they had received from the Indian intelligence agencies, indicating that some of the passengers who were traveling in Sri Lankan Airlines was actually linked to the Pahalgam attack, and that is the reason why the searches were carried out. Police spokesperson now confirming, telling Sri Lankan news portals and news agencies that this has been directly linked to Pahalgam attack. We do not know any further details as to who are these passengers that they are basically referring to, but that's the big news of the hour. Let me also go across to our Kashmir Bureau Chief Zeenat, who's joining us on this broadcast. Zeenat, you've been tracking the NIA investigation that's taking place. Was there any indication that perhaps there were more number of people part of the conspiracy?
See, Shravan, right from the day one when this attack took place on 22nd of April, Republic has been maintained that it is around 8 people, and that is where the NIA is zeroing now, because it was not the 2 or the 3 people, rather it was a huge number, the group of terrorists that had infiltrated to this South Kashmir, and these terrorists had come from the Zabarwan hill range that connects you to, that is the eastern edge of Srinagar, and connects you to down south of the Tral and then of Avantipora, and then merges with the South Kashmir's Anantnag. This is what the NIA finding at present is, and this has come from the top quarters of the NIA and the police, those who are dealing with this case. There have been 8 number of people, as we also have been maintaining that it is not the job of 2 or 3 terrorists. Definitely the foreign terrorist involvement is there of the Musa group and the Harish group. They have been part of it. They are the 2 groups, those who have been making the movements from the Zabarwan to this Avantipora frequently in the month of April, and there 3 times the movement was observed between Zabarwan and the Tral Avantipora, and then that merged with the Anantnag before that attack took place. There have been the recce's that were done, and they were looking for to target the bigger number of people, and that is how they chose the Baisaran. Baisaran is usually open only for the 3 months, because during the Amarnath Yatra the tracks are closed usually for the around 6 months, and then you have the 3 months winter where this snow is usually covered, the slopes are covered by snow, which makes it a no-go zone. So for the terrorists, the better time to carry a target in Baisaran was this very time, where the road is only for the Ghodiwala and the Poniwala, and the tourists go on these pony backs to reach their destination. There have been the multiple angles that are being searched and scanned. Even many people have been questioned who have given many leads in the investigation as far as the Pahalgam attack is concerned. But definitely, as you said also, and we have also been maintaining from the Srinagar, that it is a group of around 8 people who have carried this barbaric and uncivilized attack against the tourists in the Kashmir Valley that the history has never witnessed. Even in the Chatti Singh Pora attack that took place in 2000, where a huge number of people got killed, but in Kashmir's history, never the tourists were targeted. There were the grenade incidents. They hurled the grenade towards the tourists, but the number of the injuries were very less. This time it was a complete plan that was laid by the Pakistan in collaboration with the terrorists of the Pakistan in the Kashmir Valley, along with the logistic support that had come from South Kashmir, Avantipora, Tral, and also some of the OGWs that come from Srinagar itself that we are revealing here, rather we are breaking here. The Srinagar has in a way also provided support, because if you see this Zabarwan hill range, this is one of the eastern edge of Srinagar, but these are one of the toughest terrains, but it conceals your movement. The movement of the terrorists get concealed in those tracks. And recently in December, if you remember, one of the LET commander was also neutralized in this hills, and Absolutely. For multiple days the CASO was launched by the Srinagar police. Right. Even the Avantipora police carried the searches, because this is the same group. One of the member was neutralized in December 2024 here.
Absolutely, Zeenat. Stay with me. This is the biggest story that we are tracking. A big lead that Republic has got. Rakshita, my colleague, is also reporting from Pahalgam. Rakshita, what are the details that the Sri Lankan Airlines has given as far as the suspect is concerned?
Right, Tanisha. Well, the intelligence was received about a suspect behind the terror attack in Pahalgam. He was escaping from India, and that is why this flight coming from Chennai was searched. That is what Sri Lankan Airlines has said. In fact, it says that flight from Chennai in India to Colombo was subjected to comprehensive security search upon arrival. This was done following an alert from Chennai Area Control Center regarding a suspect wanted in India believed to be on board. And as per the statement, the aircraft was Sri Lankan Airlines says the aircraft was thoroughly inspected and subsequently cleared for further operations. However, as a result of the mandatory security procedure, the next scheduled service flight has been delayed. So the safety and security, they say, that is of highest importance. And of course, this raises many questions about the escape route that these terrorists are trying to take. It's been more than 10 days that India has been waiting for those demons behind this attack. And the fact that they are taking, if at all, they are taking this route from Chennai to Sri Lanka raises many questions. Yes, the Pakistani airspace is shut for Indian flights, and that's why we have to be very careful as far as the air routes are concerned, because these terrorists, the hunt is on for them, remember, for days now, and India needs to be on high alert. And that the fact that they were taking the route from Sri Lanka, remember, Sri Lanka has also witnessed many protests against Pakistan. Sri Lankan leaders have been also raising voice against Pakistan for the past few days. And this is, of course, a very significant development. And the intel that was shared, till now, there is no confirmation as to if there was any suspect or not, and how many of them were there. There are multiple reports that say it could have been 6, but there is confirmation at least one person was suspected who could have been behind the Pahalgam terror attack. And Sri Lankan Airlines are right now Sri Lanka is now conducting, in fact, a search operation there in Colombo, and security drills are also carried out.
Well, absolutely, Rakshita. Stay with me. I'm also being joined by Zeenat. Shada is also reporting on that top story. Zeenat, coming to you, as Rakshita was just pointing out how the initial numbers say that there were 6 suspects that could have been on board the Chennai flight, which then flew the suspect to Colombo. What are you picking up as far as the suspect is concerned? What are the agency sources telling you as far as the hunt for the Pahalgam suspects is concerned?
See, as far as the Pahalgam suspects are concerned, we have been maintaining right from the first day that it is the 8 people who have carried this drastic attack. The 4 were involved in the firing, and the 4 were keeping an eye so that somebody was allowed to come inside that Baisaran Park, and nobody was even allowed to go out. 4 of them were in the black color commando dress, and 4 others were in the army fatigue. This is the day from the very day one we have been maintaining. As far as the suspects and the logistics that were provided to the terrorists, we are picking from the sources, and also the NIA has registered in its investigation, and we are reading from the papers that are with the NIA at present that it is around the 8 number of people who are involved in the group, and also they were receiving the support from the OGWs of the Srinagar, Awantipora and Anantnag. These are the 3 districts that have provided a support to the terrorists carrying this drastic attack. In fact, one of the group member of this terror group, which is known as Haris Musa group, one of the member was neutralized in December 2024 only, and this group was left with now 3 or 4 members more who have carried this attack in Pahalgam. Srinagar police then launched an operation in the Zabarwal Hills in the Dachigam belt. If you remember that time, that one of the terrorists was neutralized, the commander was neutralized, and for many days the operation continued in the Zabarwal Hills. In fact, the CASOs were launched by the Awantipora, the army also, the Victor Force launched an operation because they were looking for this group only who had carried this drastic and barbaric attack on 22nd of April last month. We have been seeing the searches have been carrying that people have come for the investigation. OGWs were some 2,500 people were picked up by the investigating agency along with the Jammu and Kashmir police for questioning, although very few little number is now lying with them. Most of them were allowed to go their places even after the questioning of 2 or 3 hours, or the next day they were called again if there were some more dots that were supposed to be connected. We are seeing the NIA is investigating this. They have formally taken up the case, but more leads now are we coming from the Jammu and Kashmir police who have been on the ground, and they have been given a kind of a local touch. Also comes from the Jammu and Kashmir police that has given an edge to NIA while investigating the case. It is not only the 2 or the 3 people involved in the Pahalgam case, rather the group is of 8 number that has carried this attack. We are seeing, in fact, the operations are still continuing as far as the Hapadnar. This is one of the closest range, one of the closest places where the operation has not stopped for the last 10 days. The multiple parties we have been seeing going, coming down, the reinforcement being sent. Only that because that is one of the important areas where the operations have not stopped. In fact, we have seen the operations in Kulgam, in Pulwama and other, but those operations were later halted or stopped. But this is one such patch in Pahalgam because these are one of the dense forests. The foliage is so thick that you won't be able to see movement even after the 2 meters of the distance. Taking the advantage of this foliage, the terrorists have been staying, as per the reports that we getting, that they have stayed in that very area for around 4 days continuously because the kind of movement, the aerial surveillance, the drones were pressed for to track or navigate where these terrorists are located. Although the operation is still continuing in the very ridge where this incident has taken place, forces do believe that the terrorists who have carried this operation, who were involved in the firing incident, are still trapped in that very area which is called the Hapadnar of Anantnag, where even we have seen the senior officers of the Jammu and Kashmir police have also stationed themselves there for to see that there is no loophole on the ground. Although right now we are saying only the eyes are on Anantnag as far as this case is concerned, that when this case will get solved and those who have carried this attack, when they will be neutralized, when they will be hunted down, because that is a cry, or this is more like a war cry that we see that the focus is there when these people will get neutralized. In as far as the other districts of the Kashmir Valley is concerned, we still see that the people are being questioned for the further leads, but as of now we see the focus more in the Anantnag where the main lead is present.
Well, absolutely, Zeenat. Stay with me. Rakshita, coming to you, the Sri Lankan Airlines statement reads that the flight UL-22 operated by aircraft 4RALS arrived in Colombo from Chennai. Now, the statement also says that a tip-off was given from the Chennai Area Control Center concerning a suspect that was wanted in India who was believed to be on board. However, the airlines have also said that after thorough inspection of the flight was then moved forward for further operations. Do we then say that there were no suspects that were found on the flight and that it could have been a tip-off, but the suspects could have essentially escaped then, because the Sri Lankan Airlines have now given out a statement, have said that the searches were conducted thoroughly, and this was after a tip-off was given from the Chennai Area Control Center.
Absolutely, of course, it's a matter of investigation, and also to find out that was it the first flight or the only flight today from Chennai? Which one was that? Because they've mentioned the flight that where there was a suspected terrorist, and the search operation started soon after that. And that's why I was pointing out that this is a really alarming situation that India would also find itself in. But the fact that there was intel that was received, how did this, if at all it's a terrorist that it managed to escape, was trying to board this flight, that is also a matter of investigation. Of course, as we said, that the Pakistani airspace, we do not know yet that where, if at all that was a terrorist, where it would be going. But Sri Lanka, of course, was the escape route. The fact that it was cleared, as you mentioned, the statement reads that it was cleared. Henceforth, we can assume that they haven't found anyone or anything yet. And even if it's there, maybe for security reasons, they are unable to right now reveal. It's a matter of investigation. The investigation is still underway. The search operation is still underway at the airport as well. So all the entry and exit routes, all the passenger details of those flights and all the visits, the CCTV cameras, they're all being now studied so that one can understand who the suspect is, if at all he is the suspect that they got that intel about, right, and if at all is he still present at the airport or not, has he left. That's a matter of investigation, a big question.
Absolutely. Rakshita, stay with me. I'm also being joined by Zeenat, reporting live from Srinagar. Zeenat, you were just pointing out the role of OGW, the underground workers, who did as per the agency, help these terrorists? Now, there are a number of OGWs that are also being questioned. Today, we just got the information into our newsroom that there are nearly about 5 to 6 OGWs that have been taken to Jammu police station where they are being questioned. What is it and how important is the role as far as the Pahalgam terror attack is concerned?
See, as far as the Jammu is concerned, we are seeing the investigating agencies and the Jammu police have questioned the people who are languishing in the Kot Balwal jail because they are also searching the angles that if the support had come from the Kot Balwal jail, because many dreaded terrorists are still languishing in those jails, for which the questioning has taken place at Kot Balwal jail, which is in Jammu. Meanwhile, as far as the Kashmir is concerned, Kashmir Zone Police is concerned, they have picked up around in the last 12 days, some 2,500 people were questioned in relation to Pahalgam attack case, where multiple evidences have also been collected. There's some scanners have been used and some material got scanned by the investigating agency to connect the dots. In fact, the digital evidences and also the phones, the towers were scanned when the phone calls were made, when the terrorist was present in there. This is a data that is usually collected when you are in a particular area, and that scan comes through the particular towers of the mobile phones where you are located at that very particular time. So the tower locations have been picked up, they have been collected, they have been scanned, the people who were present in the area when this incident had happened. The police, the cyber police of Srinagar is itself working because they have the full-fledged lab to deal with these kind of challenges. Kashmir has witnessed n number of terrorist activities, their movements, the anti-terror operations. In fact, those terrorists, number of terrorists have been utilized. In fact, one of the terrorists of the very terror group who carried this attack, one of their member was neutralized in the Zabarwan, where from I am reporting the Junaid Butt of LET commander. The group was making their movement from Zabarwan when the Srinagar police got an int and the operation was launched. That time, the couple of terrorists who were part of the Junaid group, they managed to sneak inside the Avantipora, and later they moved their location to Anantnag. But Junaid was neutralized in Zabarwan Hills. That tells you that from Zabarwan to Avantipora to Anantnag, these ridges are always connected, and the terrorists would not say, you won't find the movement of terrorists in the hinterland as much as you see the upper belts, the forest ridges, because these are the places that helps them to conceal themselves, to cover themselves, and where the movement, the foot soldiers movement is less.
Right, absolutely. As far as the OGWs are concerned, they do play a very huge role as far as the Pahalgam terror attack is concerned. Rakshita continues to stay with me on the broadcast. Rakshita, the first statement that was released, it said a special search operation is underway at the BIA following a tip-off from the Indian authorities. Now, this tip-off was given from the Chennai area central as we were talking. Chennai from Pahalgam to, as Zenith was saying, Anantnag to Chennai. So, if this is true, if the tip-off was actually true, it is a huge concern, because when we talk about the escaping of the terrorist, when at a time when India is looking to strike back on terror, the terrorist can in no way escape from the Indian authorities' hand, and this comes as a major concern as well. All right, Rakshita, stay with me. I'm also being joined by Shravan Sen, senior editor from the newsroom. Shravan, it's a huge story. The suspect could likely be in Sri Lanka. The Sri Lankan authorities have also released a statement. The Sri Lankan airlines have given a statement. What more are you picking up?
Let me just quickly clarify. There is a security sweep that is underway at the Colombo airport. That's the official confirmation that we have just received from our news desk right now, because this is a big development taking place. I'm going to just also show our viewers the statement that has been put out by the Sri Lankan Airlines. This is about 2 flights, the UL 122 as well as UL 308, and they are now confirming that this was in coordination with local authorities following an alert from the Chennai Area Control Center. Now, this is the statement that has been put by the Sri Lankan Airlines. They are confirming the fact that the Sri Lankan army had basically carried out the searches. This is after they had received a tip-off. This tip-off was received by the air traffic control and the Sri Lankan authorities from the Indian agencies that 6 suspects were on board a Sri Lankan Airlines and in fact they had boarded from Chennai and was expected to land in Colombo. That's what we are given to understand, and the statement clearly points out to the fact that these searches are basically underway. As far as the flight operations are concerned, they are also confirming that the fact that the flight operations have already been carried out. Now, it's an important development because remember, this perhaps indicates that there is a larger conspiracy at play, and perhaps this could be a transnational conspiracy. That is the reason why with these suspects have been carried out, with these suspects who have actually left from Chennai and they landed in Colombo. Let me just also take you through some more details coming in. They are saying that the Sri Lankan Airlines UL 122, which arrived in Colombo from Chennai around 12 o'clock this afternoon, was subjected to a comprehensive security search upon arrival. This was carried out in coordination with local authorities following an alert from the Chennai Area Control Center regarding a suspect wanted in India who was believed to be on board. The aircraft was thoroughly inspected and subsequently cleared for further operations. And however, as a mandatory security procedure, the next scheduled service has also been delayed. Now, it's important to point out here, Tanisha, that there is a possibility of the involvement of certain sleeper cells, and that is the reason why the National Investigation Agency has basically tipped off the other security agencies of the possibility of some of the members being outside India and carrying out the operations. Now, remember, this is at a preliminary stage because this is the information that we have. We are also trying to connect with our reporters in Colombo to get us the latest details. But as we speak, the such operations have been carried out. Whether at all there has been any detention or not, we are trying to get more details on that front.
Well, absolutely, Shravan. Stay with me. Rakshita is also joining me on the broadcast from Srinagar. Rakshita, after the Chennai authorities have given the tip-off to the Colombo authorities, they have given a tip-off to the Sri Lankan Airlines. What is it that you're learning that the Sri Lankan Airlines have done? We learned that the search and cordon operations were already underway on the flight that was under suspect, on which the 6 suspects were on board the flight. We learned that the Sri Lankan airport is under lockdown. What more details are you picking up on that front?
Yes, it's of course as per the procedure, as per norms. If there is a tip-off for a terror suspect having a presence there at the airport, so the search and cordon operation will be underway. And yes, there should be some sealing because one would not want that these terrorists should escape somewhere. The fact that there's no confirmation yet on any success, that if there has been any person who has been caught, who has been detained, or who has been questioned, we're still waiting for that information from official information from Sri Lanka, from Colombo. But yes, it is a grave threat also for Sri Lanka. If they have already fled from airport, that is also a very, very big question. And why did they come to Sri Lanka also becomes a very, very big question to address. Nevertheless, the Chennai control room had given that intel, and of course there's a security sweep that is going on. Every passenger, everyone present there are being scanned. The CCTVs are also being monitored, and the footages are being also monitored as to who has come right up, especially after this particular flight that has been mentioned by the Sri Lankan Airlines, where the one behind those behind that Pahalgam terror attack are suspected to be present or be aboard. So that is of course a matter of investigation that is still underway. There is a security sweep that is underway, and both the Indian and the Sri Lankan authorities are right now coordinating as to find out if there is a presence of the suspected terrorist in Colombo at the airport, or maybe he has just left from the airport. That is also a matter of investigation. Henceforth, the agencies are also on alert as far as Colombo is concerned, and also it begets a question that how these routes are being taken by these terrorists, and how all these routes need to be more on alert, so that these terrorists who are behind this dastardly attack should be brought to the book, because India is waiting for the revenge.
Well, absolutely, Rakshita. Zeenath, I want to understand from you what are the kind of security measures that will be taken place now in Jammu and Kashmir following this tip-off that has been received by the Sri Lankan Airlines, because the NIA DG was there just a few days back in Pahalgam at the terror attack site. Now we learned that the suspect could likely be on board the Chennai flight and they might have just reached Colombo and run away from there as well. What kind of security measures are being taken up in the valley following this tip-off that has been given?
See, if you see the entire incident of the last 10 plus days now, we are seeing the security apparatus has completely changed in the Kashmir Valley. Kashmir has witnessed in the last couple of years the bunkers would get dismantled, the CRPF bunkers would get dismantled, which was seen as a hope for the people of Jammu and Kashmir, that it was symbolizing the return of normalcy. We have seen at multiple places now the bunkers have extended their areas, the surveillance equipment has been brought in. Everything is under radar. J&K police have enhanced their mobile and immobile checkposts. We are seeing the frisking, even taking frisking is taking place, and that is definitely a change in the strategy and the security apparatus. We are seeing more CASOs, more door-to-door searches in the Kashmir Valley. In fact, the concern